Wrong one. Okay. So I know what everyone's thinking. What the fuck just happened? So obviously the Ravens got outcoached is what happened. All right. So Ravens lost apparently 17-3 in a pivotal game they needed to win in order to advance in the playoffs, and they just lost it. But it was by no fault of the players, really. The only players you can probably blame in this game are the centers, by namely Patrick McCarry. He needs to go immediately. This was not a good game for him. And it has not been a good year for our centers either. So the Ravens have a lot to work on that center position. They need to get a new center. It's paramount. This shit can't happen anymore. All right. Secondly, coaching. John Harbaugh, fine. Defensive coordinator Wink Martindale actually did a fucking fantastic job. But Greg Roman, the more I think about it, the more I think about Greg Roman coaching this offense and calling plays, the more I realize one thing. He no matter where he's been, his success has never been sustained. Whether it was Kaepernick or whoever, or even now, his success has never been sustained to the same level it was in its peak. That's all. It's been the story of his entire career. So Greg Roman, he showed today why that is. He's not able to keep up consistently in situational play calling, and that's what it comes down to. He's not that he's a bad offensive mind, not that he's a bad offensive coordinator per se. Situationally, he can never be the guy you need when he doesn't sustain success in situational football. Example, all right, we're at the goal line, end of the game, backup quarterback in, we're down by 2 touchdowns, still have a chance because we have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. What does he do? What does this guy do? Instead of running a design quarterback run, which at once, I wanted to see one design quarterback run because Huntley's got some legs. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he can run. Try to run a quarterback power to the right, or try a fake read option to the left. Do anything, but don't run the ball with Dobbins. I understand the concept. I understand, trying to catch them off guard. That's not going to win, though. That's not going to do it at all. So again, this just came down to execution as well on behalf of our offensive line. We got beat in the trenches on a lot of the plays early, especially. We got beat in the trenches, and our offensive line was making mistakes, and it was just bad penalties as well. It was not a clean game, honestly, is what I'm trying to say. It was not a clean game. The Ravens looked a little rattled too. But again, I think this comes down to our offensive play calling. And it also comes down to, like I said, our centers. So bunch of moves to be made this offseason for the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have a lot of retooling to do as well, way more than you guys think. Defensive line is going to be decimated after this offseason. Yannick Ngakoue, Matthew Judon, Brandon Williams. You got a big decision with him coming up, especially if you want to pay Lamar Jackson. Brandon Williams might be a name where you have to let go as a cap casualty in order to afford that and keep the team together. Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe is a big one that's probably going to walk, and he's gotten better throughout the season, so that defensive line is going to be needed to be retooled. And look, if any Bills fans are watching this, I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to be talking much about the Bills. I'm a Ravens fan. So there you go. But yeah, end of the day, this totally comes down to play calling. And now going into the offseason, 2 focuses. One, in the draft, retooling on our defensive line, getting young players, getting players who are cheap, which we're traditionally good at doing. I don't think we're going to be able to afford to keep Judon. It's probably not going to happen. Yannick Ngakoue, no, he's probably gone. Again, Brandon Williams, I think he's going to end up being a cap casualty because he's getting paid, I think, he's supposed to get paid $10 million next year. And I don't think we're going to be able to sustain that much, especially considering we have to pay Lamar Jackson. The other priority is going to be center, obviously, but getting Lamar help as well. Because Hollywood is Hollywood's very good at what he does. He's a speedster who can be a bullet right down up the field, get open. And he's been open a lot this year. He has been open a lot. He's had some drops, but Lamar's also missed him so much. He was streaking on that play with Huntley, and Huntley just missed him by a few feet. So, Hollywood has that ability to get open. So, yeah. I'm sorry. This is like fresh. I'm pissed. You guys should have seen me like 5 minutes ago. It was not a fun time in my basement. Other than that, but yeah. So let's focus on. I don't even know what to focus on. I'm pissed. Honestly, this is fucking bullshit. We had the game. It was there. Like we could have done something. Could have done something on offense. Yeah. Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. Not worried about him. People were talking about, his confidence is shot. No, I don't believe that for a second. It was a windy ass game. Tucker's gonna be fine. Also, a lot of people were saying online that Lamar Jackson faked an injury, that he faked a concussion. I'm not sure how you can fake a concussion. I'm not sure if that's actually viable. I'm not sure if that's actually possible. I'm not sure if that's actually something the NFL will let you do. I don't know how you fake a concussion, but if Lamar could have been out there, I promise you he would have been. Even with a concussion, like if we were back in the day, he would have been. He's not with that type of player. So, I mean, look, and I think the second we lost Lamar Jackson, that's when it kind of set in, and that's when it set in. It was like, oh, well, season's done. No disrespect to Huntley, but he just didn't have the practice time. He just isn't experienced enough, to be the guy we need right now. I think backup quarterback is also going to be a big thing we got to look forward to. So we'll see what we do in that. Maybe draft a guy in early round. Actually, no, don't draft a quarterback. Fuck that. I lied. Don't draft a quarterback. If we're going to draft anyone, I really want to see the Ravens draft Trey Hill from Georgia. He's a center, big guy, I think 340, 6'4", built like a fucking brick house. He is going to be a star in the NFL, especially, how they build those SEC guys. So I think he's going to be a big attraction for the Ravens, I think, and I want him to be the guy because we can't keep going with this revolving door of centers who can't snap. They can block great. Patrick McCarry and Matt Skura might have a future in this league as guards or even tackles, but they cannot snap the football. There were people who were talking about possibly putting in Morgan Cox in the game, and I was like, I mean, he can snap, but he can't really block. So he's kind of useless as a center. No offense to Morgan. But, yeah, center's going to be a big position needs to be addressed. Also, other than that, all these people who are saying, Lamar choked or any of that, I don't buy it. No. He's going to come back next year, still be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, still be dynamic, probably rush for another 1,000 yards, 3,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns. He's good. Deal with it. Just deal with it. He's going to be back next year, might even win a Super Bowl next year. But this kid, Josh Allen, I want to talk about him actually because Josh Allen was the guy who was thought to be if there was anyone who was going to be a bust out of that 2018 class, people thought it was going to be him. Completes like 50% of his passes in college. Oh, he has an arm, but is he accurate? Looked pretty accurate to me. All right. Granted, he only completed 62% of his passes today, but Allen was on point when he needed to be, and at the end of the day, that's what got him to the AFC Championship game. That's what's probably going to get him to a Super Bowl because this offense is probably the only offense other than Aaron Rodgers in the NFC that I could see going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs as far as scoring, as far as explosive plays, and you're going to need that to beat the Chiefs because we've seen it's hard. It's freaking hard to slow down Pat Mahomes. It is the worst job in the world, especially when you don't have the capability to catch up like a lot of other teams do. So I think Allen is going to be fine with that. Stephon Diggs had an amazing game. I think 8 catches, over 100 yards. And, unsung hero for the Bills. Unsung hero for the Bills was obviously Smokey John Brown, former Baltimore Raven. Big ups to Smokey Brown. Glad he's going to be in an AFC Championship game. He Yeah, he had 8 catches for like I think 60 yards, but they were very situational catches. He's kind of like there when Josh Allen needed an outlet, and he made plays. He made some plays. Um, but yeah, the Ravens definitely have some things to think about, but generally, I think considering how well they draft, considering how well they manage their money in the offseason, they're going to be fine. And considering how well they progress players and develop players, they're going to be fine. The only question is how much are they going to pay Lamar? We heard a lot of rumblings today that they were going to work on an extension, and it was basically guaranteed. Like obviously, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, that's a very good. They feel like that's a very good match for each other. So, and I think so too. I think Lamar wants to be there. The Ravens obviously want him there, so it makes sense. Question is he going to get Pat Mahomes money? I don't think so. If he had won a Super Bowl this year, I think he would have. But I think now he's kind of got to get, more of that Deshaun Watson money, that, $30 to $40 million a year, which is still a lot of fucking money. Jesus Christ, these guys are making so much money. But, he's going to be making a lot of money, eating up a lot of cap, but actually it's going to be a good investment on our part. Lamar Jackson is going to be the Ravens' future for the next 10 years. Good investment. Much better investment than Joe Flacco would have been. Sorry, Joe. Love you. But Lamar today before he got injured, it was really up and down. And I think that last play is just indicative of this season. Center throws it over his head. He has to kind of find a way to like move out of it, but he can't. Ravens battled COVID, battled bad snaps by our centers, battled, bad reads and by our quarter. Like it was a tough season, but we still won 11 games. Still won a playoff game, which people can't say about Lamar anymore. He doesn't have that monkey on his back, and he's one of those guys who's laser focused. Lamar is laser focused on what's ahead of him since day one. Since literally the minute he got drafted, he came up there and he said that when they asked him what are the Ravens going to get out of you, he said they're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. And he's had that mentality up until this point. He's going to probably have that mentality moving forward. And the Ravens, and he's the type of guy who, I promise you, when it's all said and done, he will have won a Super Bowl, and he also in the process will have become one of the all-time greats. He's changed the game. He's made it so, there's a lot of people who came forward. Michael Vick obviously laid the groundwork. Colin Kaepernick obviously helped lay the groundwork. But Lamar Jackson, the guy who people said should be a wide receiver, even though he was one of the best pocket passers in the NCAA when he was at Louisville. The guy who they said isn't a quarterback, can't throw the football, who all he does is win. All he does is throw touchdowns. His touchdown interception ratio is insane in the red zone. It's like 45-0. 45 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the red zone. But he's not a quarterback. He's a running back. He runs for 3,000 yards, or he runs for 1,000 yards. He's not a quarterback. He's a running quarterback. Pretty damn good running quarterback. Pretty damn good quarterback. One of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. But no one wants to talk about that. Lamar Jackson is going to be fine. Lamar Jackson is going to be a star. Lamar Jackson is going to be one of the faces of the NFL moving forward. That's not a problem. What is a problem, though, I think, is the Ravens wide receiving core. And I'm not saying that to disparage anybody, but, they have some good players. They have some good pieces. Hollywood Brown, amazing. I think we've seen development of him throughout this season. We knew he was a speedster, but especially in this game when Huntley was there, that catch he made on the comeback to take it away from the cornerback, that was a great play. That's showing that he knows how to come back to the ball and catch with both hands, which he struggled with in his career. So he's done that. He's good, but you need someone opposite him, and preferably someone who is kind of in that Dez Bryant mold, except a little more effective in that role. No offense, Dez. Love you. But I think that they need someone who's a possession receiver, who is also going to draw, some attention on the other side, some serious attention. You know, like Snead is great at what he does. He's that guy on that short little curl route, catches it for 5 yards, and then fights for yardage. Literally fights. I've never seen someone fight for yardage like Willie Snead does. It seems like he's just fighting for extra yards every single play. He catches the ball, so it's gonna be a thing. J.K. Dobbins, work on the jugs machine a little bit. You'll be fine too, kid. Great running back. Gus Edwards is keep on churning, keep those legs churning. Again, this offense, it's gonna take some retooling. This was not a bad loss in the sense that, it didn't expose the Ravens. What happened was it was just mistakes. A lot of times we shot ourselves in the foot, and situational offensive play calling was not good. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Big ups to the Bills. They're obviously either going to go to Kansas City or they host a playoff game against Cleveland. I'm going to be really fucking surprised. Cleveland, you got no chance, but we'll see what happens. Just want to do a quick stream. In the meantime, subscribe, like, and fuck, I'm still mad. I'm sorry.